0.25 mile run. Why do some people look so cute when they run? I mean, I've got my...
Move, bitch! Get out of my fucking way! It's Black History Month!
In honor of Black History Month, I want to read y'all a quote from Harriet Tubman, and I really want y'all to carry this quote with y'all for the rest of the month, okay? I went downstairs to get me a cold pop, and I thought somebody was barbecuing or something. I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. And I ran. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life. And then the fumes got me. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. And those words are just so touching me because who has time to be a slave? Who had time for that? Who had time for that? Happy Black History Month.
Read. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to Season 3 of Black History Fast Facts, where every day in February I give you a fact about Black history you might not have known. Today's fast fact, potato chips as we know them were invented by a pair of black siblings. Born in 1824, George Speck, aka George Crumb, spent his early years developing his cooking skills in the Adirondack Mountains, eventually earning him a place as a cook at the Moons Lake House on Saratoga Lake, a popular vacationing spot for rich white tourists. Years later, his younger sister Kate went on to join him. Now, there are two versions as to how the chip came to be. In version 1, Crumb is going back and forth with a picky customer who's complaining that his french fries are not thin enough or salty enough. And out of spite or humor, Crumb makes them super thin and super salty, and to everyone's surprise, the guy loves them. In version 2, Kate makes the chip when she accidentally cuts a potato way too thin and it falls in some hot oil. Crumb tastes it, and he loves it. The rest is history. History suggests that theory 2 is more likely, but either way, the chips become so popular that when Crumb opens his own restaurant, he puts a basket on every table, and eventually they're mass-marketed in bags around the states. So the next time you bite into the salty goodness that is the potato chip, remember to thank the Speck siblings. And that's your Black History Fast Fact.
In 60 seconds, I'll prove to you that the racial wealth gap does not exist. See, the reason that white workers are wealthier is because they choose higher paying jobs like lawyer, doctor, engineer. But black people choose lower paying jobs like black lawyer, black doctor, black engineer. Wait a minute, that can't be, that's not right. Hey Siri, explain the racial wealth gap.
I found this on the web.
Okay, so before the Fair Housing Act became a thing in 1968, lenders could choose not to sell a home to a black person just because they were black. So when homes in the 1960s were selling for $12,000, guess who didn't get to buy those cheap family homes on government-subsidized loans? And most Americans accumulate generational wealth through home ownership, but because black families were denied that opportunity for decades, they were never able to catch up. So by 2020, those $12,000 homes had appreciated to more than $330,000, which explains the huge racial wealth gap. But as an immigrant from Uganda who came here with nothing and is now financially independent at 22, I share realistic ways to get smarter with your money, regardless of your race, age, or financial situation. So if that's something that interests you, hit the follow button. Anyway, I made some chapati. It's a pretty common bread in Uganda. Credit goes to my mom, though, for the secret family recipe.
Slaves worked all the hours they were awake for their entire lives. I think, like, if they can do it, so can I.
I'm going to Target and destroying every microphone I see because these podcasts is getting ridiculous. You use slavery as a motivation tactic? Like, what you going to say when this don't work? Oh, if something's in your way, remember 9/11. They got it out the way and they not there till this day. That's how you sound, using tragedy to motivate. What happened to early bird gets the worm? Hey, be the hardest worker in the room. Now you talking about, hey, you got to work hard like a slave because they worked hard. You can too, you punk bitch. And he said it like these slaves applied for the job of slavery. Like they bumped into it on LinkedIn or something like that. It had their resume. Oh, I had 200 years of slavery under my belt. Like they didn't put this on their resume, sir. You know that, right? Some of them was lazy as hell. They didn't want to be up. Some of them would have loved to wake up and scroll on TikTok and whatnot, but they couldn't because if they did, they might have died or got whipped with your dumb ass.
What are two pieces of content that give off the exact same energy? I'll go first.
Of what nation are you a citizen?
Singapore.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I served my nation in Singapore. No, I did not.
Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, I'm Singaporean.
Some of y'all know where I'm going with this.
So are you Chinese or Japanese?
I live in California last 20 years, but first come from Laos.
Huh?
Laos. We lay ocean.
The ocean? What ocean?
We are lay ocean. From Laos, stupid. It's a landlocked country in Southeast Asia. It's between Vietnam and Thailand, okay? Population 4.7 million.
So are you Chinese or Japanese?
Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
Hi, Michael. Yeah, I'm a big Tom Hanks fan. So my soccer coach when I was a kid was actually white. His name was Kyle. So you know. Do you know him? Who's your favorite hockey player? There's plenty of food, so please help yourself. I even put out a little extra mayo. I voted for Biden. I'm a big fan of country music. I don't listen to it, but I really respect its cultural impact. I thought you'd sound more rural, you know? Got any big plans for Christopher Columbus Day? You don't play hockey? You know who you remind me of? Oh, one of those guys on Friends. I can't remember their names. They all look so similar, you know? But where are you from originally? Like, what part of the Midwest does your family come from?
Did you know that Africa is not the indigenous name of our continent? It's Alkebulan, which means the mother of mankind or the Garden of Eden. This is really cool because it means that we've known the entire time that people come from our continent. Now onto the gross part. Africa is a Greek and Latin word that translates to the land of burning horror. Like, are you talking about your skin when you come to our lands? Please. But obviously these two terms, Black and African, are colonized identities. We would never use a color to refer to our entire peoples. We're far more individual than that. We identify with ethnicity, with tribes, clans, that type of stuff. And if you pay attention to how indigenous people name themselves, it's usually referring to the land that they're from. So think about the Baka people or the Pygmies of Africa, which is what they're called in the Western world. Baka means the people of the wood or people of the trees. It's really pretty. Like, I wish like we would do that more because like it takes away this concept of like ownership over land, and it recognizes that you are of the land instead. But yeah, I think that we should go back to calling our continent what it really is, the mother of mankind, Alkebulan. And instead of calling ourselves Black, this arbitrary thing that is put on all of us, we could at least call ourselves Bulanis. Like, do you hear that? Like, that sounds so pretty. Like, imagine if we were like, yeah, we're Bulani girls. Like, that is too pretty to give up. Like, please, I can't keep doing this anymore. I'm tired. But yeah, it's a show of genocide when a people group are no longer called what they have chosen for themselves. Just how they attempt to erase genetics, they attempt to erase history and true identity. So to regain our autonomy and preserve our true humanity, we should go back to our real names. Even the country Ethiopia, that's not the indigenous name. It's Abyssinia, which is so much prettier. Our words are so much freaking prettier than these nasty colonized names. Ugh. But yeah, I recommend looking up the indigenous names of our peoples, our lands, stuff like that. It's a part of our history. It's a part of who we are. And I think it's like Black History Month or something like that. So I feel like it's the perfect time to do so.
Now, why would Black History Month be the shortest month of the year? Well, it actually started as Negro History Week in 1926. Carter G. Woodson, a Black scholar and historian, was tired of Black Americans' extensive contributions to the country being overlooked. So he created the week as a way to get other historians to acknowledge and respect Black history and to encourage Black Americans to learn their history. Woodson intentionally chose the second week of February because both Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln's birthdays fell during that week, two men who are well known for the role they played in ending slavery. Eventually, Woodson's Black History Week gained in popularity across schools and universities, communities started history clubs and celebrations, and mayors started recognizing the week until eventually it was expanded into the full month.
It's Black History Month, so you know what that means. Angry white people on Twitter posting about how we shouldn't have a history month. But better yet, it means folktale. That's right, African American folktales, West Indian folktales, African folktales, Southern black folktales, black folktales, black folktales, black folktales. So somebody slid in my DMs and they were like, Christina, you're so bad. But if you don't tell me your predominantly black folktales for every single day of February, I'm going to come to your house and do unspeakable things like take your Nintendo Switch that you're severely attached to for no reason. And I just couldn't have that. So we're going to start with African Americans because they paved the way for a lot of us here in America today. So this folktale is called Why No One Fish on Sundays. And just for shits and giggles, and because it'll make sense later on, let's put them in Louisiana. Back in the days, there was a carpenter named Jonah, and Jonah was an excellent carpenter, loved by the entire neighborhood, but he had one weakness. Fishing. He loved fishing. He did it all the time. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Lord's Day. And though the entire town had told him, Jonah, you need to stop fishing on Sunday. That's the Lord's Day. That's the Sabbath. Because there's a witch in the water. And, you know, she's not going to get us because we're like people of the faith. But she going to get you because you're not very much of the faith. Because you'd rather fish than go to church on Sunday. Even though you fish every other day, you still find it okay to not go to church on Sunday because you want to fish some more. And Jonah was like, get gone. There's no such thing as a sea witch or evil witch. And first of all, I do not follow the Sabbath. I want to fish on Sundays and I should have the right to fish on Sundays. And you know, Jonah was a full-grown adult, so there's not much that people could do. But there was an old lady in the town that consistently bothered him. All the time she would tell him, Jonah, you mustn't fish on Sundays. There's a witch in the water. To which Jonah would respond, ha 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 ha. There's no such thing as witches. Fisherman gang. Now, Jonah was so popular and he caused such a riot in the town that the youngins and the youth of the town were like, you know what? I kind of hear what he's saying. I don't want to go to church on Sunday either. I don't necessarily like fishing myself, but I just feel like I should be able to stay home and play video games. So the youngins stopped going to church and they basically started following in Jonah's footsteps. Now, one Sunday after having fished all week, Jonah was in church praising the Lord. Psych. He was fishing again. And that day, he wasn't getting any luck. He hadn't caught a single fish, so he was kind of upset. But then, as he was vibing and chilling and minding his own business, he felt a tug at his pole. It was a big creature, and he pulled it off the water, and the creature was a little weird. And by a little, I mean a lot. It had the tail of a fish, the head of a duck, and eagle wings. Now, pause. Christina, stop pausing the story. Shh. You see me? I am Haitian. In my culture, if the entire neighborhood is saying, don't do this because bad stuff will happen, call me a follower because I'm not doing it, okay? I'm not doing it. I would never be caught in Jonah's crazy ass situation, because if they told me, Christina, don't you fish on Sundays, and I say why, and they say, oh well, there's a witch in the water that could kill you if you fish on Sundays, I'm not fishing any day. The witch could have it all. It's her water. I'm not fishing any day. But anyway, Jonah did not give a damn. So Jonah takes the creature fish thingy out. And after taking a good look at it, his black senses came to him and he dropped the fish and started running home. But then the fish creature thingy started singing. And it was like, come to me, Jonah. Come to me, Jonah. And the last line it said was, Domi Ninky Head Jonah, which caused Jonah, forgive me, I was interrupted by a Haitian. Where was I? Right. Domi Ninky Head Jonah. So after the creature said that, Jonah got in a trance and he stopped running home and basically made a U-turn straight towards the river. Now the youngins were playing outside because, you know, they followed in Jonah's footsteps. They were not at church. And they saw him maneuvering so weirdly, so they followed him to the river. And when they followed him, they saw him go back in the river, pick up the weird creature and basically turn around and take it to his house. They followed him there too. So when Jonah got home with the fish started singing. Well, it's not a fish, but you get the gist, all right? The creature started singing, clean me and cook me, Jonah. Clean me and cook me, Jonah. Donkey, ninky, winky, pinky, dinky head, Jonah. And of course, that put Jonah in a trance and he started cleaning and cooking the fish. To which the youngsters outside were like, that's some weird shit if I've ever seen it. That's not okay. Now, though Jonah physically was under a trance, mentally he was still kind of there. So he started thinking to himself, once he cooked the fish creature thingy, it would stop singing and he would be okay. Safe? Not. After he cooked that boy started singing to him, eat me, Jonah, eat me, Jonah, donkey, pinky, winky, finky, Jonah. And by the time Jonah was done cooking the fish, church had already finished. So people came out of the church, saw the youngsters ranting about Jonah and a weird fish, and so they went to his house and they were seeing the commotion for themselves. At this point, Jonah was fully under the trance, so he started sitting down and eating the fish, and everybody was just watching. Now, don't ask me why they didn't help or stuff like that. I mean, all you could do is pray at this point, okay? Because I'm not gonna help somebody who cooked a creature and, like, is eating a creature that is still singing to them. I'm not gonna touch you, my G. I don't know what kind of dark magic that is. Like, I don't know if it's, like, infectious, so I'm not gonna do that. So I don't necessarily disagree with the people that was in the story. I feel like they were all taking out their Bibles and just wishing him the best at this point. They gave him enough warnings. But anyway, Jonah kept eating the fish, num 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 num, even though it was choking him with every bite. And after he finished the last bite, boom! That's right, he exploded. Blood, guts, bones, meat everywhere. And out of his remains came out the sea witch. I like to think she was pretty, right? But she came out and everybody gasped and they made room for her to walk away. And as she was walking in the middle of the church people and the kids, she started singing, "Don't go fishing on Sunday, Jonah. Don't go fishing on Sunday, Jonah. Hinka, dinky, pinka, finka, linka, tika, mushka, miska, Mickey Mouse, Jonah." And she walked back into the river. Until today, no one fishes in that river. Not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or especially Sunday. Want to go fishing?